Well, Mom, this week is my week to share.
Yes, sir.
And I really didn't have a topic until this morning, just, because I just been super, super busy with everything in life, and, things just kind of add up and kind of just get in the way. And it just seems like lately I haven't had a whole lot of time for anything lately. And so my topic I thought would be something really interesting. And it's less of like a stance of like teaching or educating the you or the viewership. It's more of just venting and maybe just talking. But it's about I need to learn to start taking more time for myself, and because that's something that I just don't do. So like a typical day would be I wake up at 4, we go to the gym. I have about 30 minutes before I start stream. I stream for 5 hours, and then I edit until I go to bed. And I just don't have a whole lot of option for like leisure anymore. And it's been like that I would say that routine has been for about 2 or 3 months.
Right.
Where it's gotten progressively like more and more, I should say less and less me time. And I really don't have an outlet to like, unwind, right? A lot of people are like, oh, well, video games is a way to unwind. But in a lot of ways, I think it's more of like a job.
Oh, yeah.
And so like I don't have like that release valve. And it's funny because today, Arian, my best friend Arian, he moved back into town recently, and he and I might go surfing, or we made plans to go surfing. And then while we were doing that, I was kind of like, oh, well, if I go surfing, I'm going to be so behind on all my other things. Like I got so much to do, like so much work things. And it's like this really weird fine line where, do I compromise and go and enjoy myself, or do I put it off and be like, oh, well, if I don't go surfing, then, then I get to do this and this and this. And then there's just less things for me to do eventually. It's a really interesting, weird ebb and flow when it comes to like, finding balance.
Right.
So, yeah, so that's just kind of where I've been at like mentally is like, am I working too much? Am I putting too much pressure? Not pressure, but am I not making enough time for myself? Because I look at it like, well, if I'm, it's almost like an obsessive thing where, every waking moment I want to spend towards content creation or growing the channel. And, and the thing of it is like, I see the success, I see the progress. And so like, I get like that taste of it, and I just want to keep going and going. And, it's really hard to kind of like give up that kind of mentality to like do something recreational.
Right.
Which I think is really interesting.
See, now, if you don't mind me interjecting, I think you should take it one layer deeper. And by that, I mean, because I have a tendency to fall into the same trap. It's like no matter what I'm doing, I think it would be better if I was doing something else.
Sure.
So like if I go out and I do content creating out and about, I'm like, oh, I should be home editing. Or if I'm home editing, I'm like, oh, well, I should be out content creating. And what I associate it with, it's like you keep yourself in a mental prison, because you're never, no matter what you're doing, you think you should be doing something else. For example, like if you go surfing today with Arian, you need to catch yourself. And if you're like, oh man, I probably shouldn't have come surfing, I should have stayed home and edited. You need to realize that had you stayed home and edited, the voices in your head would be like, oh man, you really should have gone surfing with Arian. You just have to make sure you don't get caught in that kind of catch-22.
No, I wouldn't. But it's my thing is more of just like, where do you find time to insert leisure or recreational time in a busy schedule? And if so, how much?
Well, that comes down to self-love and self-compassion too. I mean, you deserve downtime. The thing is like, you can't continue basically creating content at this level forever. I mean, you have to have like a moment to be able to be like, okay, recharge your inner batteries. But it's also too, you need to realize how important you are in the equation.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like the more and more the channel grows, hopefully I'll be at a point where I can financially pay for somebody to take off some of the load for me.
See, and I laugh at this because I love you dearly, but what's going to happen if you don't structure it like that now, when you pay somebody to take that load off of you, it's like trying to build a hole in sand. you're going to fill that gap with something else. Because
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but that something else is just going to be like, it's going to be more and more work unless you make that foundation of a healthy kind of like, I'm going to carve out this amount of time per day for me. It's going to get harder and harder to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like, I want that though. I want that like, oh, well, this person now has this burden or is handling this procedure or this part of the workload. That means I get to use more time for this other workload.
Right.
And so I don't think they'll ever be like, oh, well, they're all taken care of, I'm going to keep my feet up. I think it's more of just like, well, how much time should I dedicate towards like leisure wear or like relaxing? Like, is it like one day a week or is it like an afternoon a weekend?
Yeah.
You know, because at what point am I going to be like, oh, well, you know, because, you know, time, my thing is like, and I really do. And like, that's the thing, though, is I don't want to come off like a burden or I don't want to come off like I'm not enjoying it, because I absolutely am.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's why I'm able to spend every day, all day doing it. But it's more of like, well, you know, like where, like how much time should I do it for things? And so I read this article and I was going to read some of the article, but it's saying that, this is 10 ways to take time for yourself, even with a hectic schedule. And it says, do you tend to get overwhelmed with everything going on in your life? And it says, whether it's the responsibility piling up at work, the chores you have to do at home, or the people in your life who need your attention, it can feel like you have too much on your mental load if you never get to step away from it all. And so I resonate with that because mentally I'm just maxed all day, every day. I'm at 100.
Yeah. And that's,
so,
I'm sorry, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, I think it's really important because you see where your channel is going and you see where the growth is potential. I think that again, and I don't want to repeat myself, but I am unfortunately repeating myself. You need to start building into that platform some you time. How it's, you know, start with like maybe 30 minutes a day now. And then the more it grows and the more you can get other people to do it, then you can be like, okay, here's an hour to myself.
Yeah, but I can't get people to do it if I don't pay them. I have to pay them.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But for now, you need to start integrating now some time for, you know, 30 minutes a day of just you time.
Yeah, but okay, so that's the crux of it, right? Like, what would I do for 30 minutes? You know, that's the hard part. Because like surfing that's the thing about like surfing takes like 4, 5, 6 hours.
Yeah.
You know, so that can't be something. And so it's more of just like finding something I can do by myself for 30 minutes a day. You know, so I have jump roping and that's been really cool.
Now, are you still reading your book at night?
Yeah.
Okay. So what about just maybe taking, 15, 20 minutes and just sitting there and reading a couple of chapters of your book?
I couldn't do it during the day.
Why?
Because I don't want to do it during the day. My mind would just be, is so busy with things that I couldn't take the time to not be thinking about things. I couldn't unwind.
Okay, because where I'm looking at it, I'm looking at it from the outside in.
Sure.
It's really easy for me to say, just do this and just do that. And I don't want you to think like I'm coming across as like just kind of flippant, like just like take 20 minutes and go sit in the backyard and smell the roses.
I'm definitely not looking for like solutions.
I'm not trying to give you solutions. What I'm saying at this point is that as from the outside looking in, I see it's almost like, like on one of those science fiction movies where like the core of the spaceship is like going to maximum overdrive and it's like they need to go reset it, like in Galaxy Quest where they had to like go, the core was going to explode. I see that in you. I see that the pressures are just mounting.
Yeah.
And unless you find a way to work for you to start having a release valve now, it's only going to get more pressure. I mean, as your platform grows, it's just going to get more difficult. So
I don't think so. I think the challenges will become different. I don't think it's going to get more difficult.
It's the obstacles, there are going to be more, not less. There's going to be, as you grow, there's going to be more demands on your time because what's going to happen is you already have an incredibly busy schedule. What's going to happen when you have to start doing content like campaigns, like paid campaigns? You're going to have to find time to set aside for that. I mean, what happens if you have to go to like a Comic-Con or something like that? You're going to have to find time for that. So I'm just trying to suggest that you start mentally preparing for the future now. You just are, people are going to want more and more and more from you the more and more and more your platform grows.
Sure.
and that's why I keep on saying it's like, instead of saying like, I'm going to do it tomorrow, it's something that you need to start thinking about today. That's all, that's just my advice from the outside looking in.
Yeah. No, but like, that's the thing though, is like, but how much? I mean, 30 minutes doesn't seem like a lot. And 30 minutes. So would it be like an hour? I mean, should I go I was thinking about maybe no, I don't want to do that because that costs like $50, but maybe just going back to the gym and just maybe just do it on the stair climber or just jump up in the garage or something. But the hard part is because like after I work out, then I'll have to shower again. And so like, it's just like this, I don't have enough, like, it's almost like I don't have enough time to kind of do anything well kind of thing when it comes to recreational time.
Right.
So like, I don't know, like, I don't want to watch anything. 'Cause I prefer it to be something active, something where I get up and maybe even leave the house.
What about just getting up and walking down to Starbucks and having like a green tea, an iced green tea, sit there for maybe 20 minutes and then walk home?
Yeah, something like that would be it would be fine.
And again, it's.
But I wouldn't want to do that every day though.
But the whole thing is like, what? I don't want you to do it I wouldn't recommend you doing it every day, because then again, that becomes a chore.
Yeah.
What you're going to have to start doing, and this is 100% on you, but you're going to have to realize when you're starting to get to that max overdrive, and you're going to realize that at that point, you're going to have to say, I need to take a stop, and I need to just reset. And those are the days that you go out and do something. I mean, once a week, you should go get pokey. Or, once a week you can go do something else or this, but it's really truthfully, it all comes down to you knowing you and you allowing yourself to have that downtime.
Yeah, no, I like the idea of surfing, and maybe I don't think I'll do it once a week. I think that sounds too much more like the routine. And I'm definitely I am a slave to the repetition. I wake up the same day every day. I do the same thing every day. I eat the same food every day. And so like the last thing I want to do is, like you say, is make it feel like more of a routine. Or maybe I'll just let Arian be my like mental reset, because when I'm with Arian, we just kind of giggle and laugh, and he's so chaotic that I forget about the structure. And so maybe in a way, him moving back home would be a little bit more of a pro for me, whereas I could just get to like, cause he's so anti, like,
he's the complete opposite.
He is the complete opposite of me. Yeah, he's my best friend, but him and I are different on drastically every single level. So maybe I just use him as like maybe a mental reset, maybe a way to kind of just unwind. Because when I'm with him, nothing really ever happens, but also to like nothing really like is ever. It's just nice to like unplug because it's so different than my day to day.
Right. See, because and I've said this on past episodes, but you're very hard on yourself. You hold yourself to these just such extreme standards that I
don't think they're extreme, because I think they're reachable.
And we've had this conversation multiple times, but it's like you'll put your like a goal right here, which I think having goals is fine, but you rarely allow yourself any softness.
I don't think so.
I see, because the other day we were talking about, I can't remember what the subject was, and I'm like, you need to have a little bit more compassion for yourself, and you're like, nope. And
I don't remember.
Yeah. So what I'm just trying to say, and this is a very valid, concern for you. And I really am glad that you're bringing it up, because like I keep saying, it's like the more successful you become, the more important this is going to become. Because I remember one time when we were getting tattooed with Austin, and we were talking about, it was after I had quit my job and I was doing social media, and he looked at me and he's like, this is the hardest job you're ever going to have. He goes, you will work harder and longer for yourself than you ever will for somebody else. Yeah. And so I kind of take it from that. I mean, Austin has his like outlets that he does, he does his little, he goes to the Rose Bowl flea market and, he does his little things. And to me, I think that you need to kind of emulate something like that, to where you have some sort of thing that you can just do that just takes you away for a moment, and then you can come back looking at it fresh.
Yeah, no, that's the whole point of this episode, right? Is trying to find that like medium room,
Right. But you also, too, you have to just try different things and see what resonates with you. Instead of, sometimes I think that we get into this kind of like rut where it's like, I'm going to figure out the perfect thing before I do it, instead of just being like, you know what, be a little bit more like Ari and just try different things. If it works, great. If it doesn't, just be like, hey, at least I tried.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to have to like figure something out that I can just, at max an hour, maybe like every other week or something like that. Cause I can't do it every week. There's not enough time.
So, and now are you still considering giving yourself like a little break during the day?
I mean, if I did anything, it would be like, maybe like watching an episode, or, I'm talking with somebody right now, maybe just calling her and things like that. But even when I call her, I'm still working. And we both work separately, and that's been enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can do is just give you my outside opinion, and my outside opinion is that you need to find something just to kind of let that kind of like mental reset just a little bit every day. Because I mean, it used to be where you would be able to do that more at the gym. And do you find that you don't have that kind of like that resetting at the gym, even though it's like 4:30 in the morning? Are you, and here's the thing, and I will be completely, and hopefully you don't get upset at me, but I find you on your phone all the time at the gym.
When? Oh, I message my mod at 5 a.m. to wake her up every day.
Right. And I get that, and that's really cool. But a lot of times I think you're on your phone more than you actually realize it. And it's not that I care. I don't care if you're on your phone or not. But you're not giving yourself your you time when you do that. Yeah,
but I mean, what would I have done? What would I be doing if I was on the phone for like 10, 15 second like increments? Like, I mean, I don't think that's a problem.
This wasn't an insult, and
I'm not insulted. I'm just saying that like.
But it is. The thing is like I said, I think you're on the phone more than you realize it, because usually during every set, like unless I'm doing free weights, because you always like keep an eye on me while I'm doing free weights, you have a tendency to be checking your phone throughout the time that we're at the gym. Yeah. And I'm just saying, I mean, and it's fine if you want to do that, but it's not allowing you to have your you time. You get what I'm saying?
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. And it's just an observation. And it's just something where it's like, if you're struggling for that you time to where it's just for you and you can have it. Because I try not to talk to you at the gym to give you that. I mean, and I feel free to ask you questions because you do train me and stuff like that. But I try not to like chit chat in between, because I'm respecting it as for your time to just kind of drop into your head. And I think that you've lost that without realizing it.
See, I don't think so, though. Okay. I don't think it was ever lost, because I listen to my music, and so sometimes I'm changing songs, and sometimes I'm checking the weather, and like it's not. I don't think me checking the phone at the gym is a bad thing.
Okay, and again, it was just an observation where I'm just trying to like help you try to find your you time, but
yeah. I think regardless of what I do, I think I should probably find something, and I think I'll. RN's a really good thing, but I think maybe I'll find something a little bit more like solo, like maybe like a solo operation kind of thing. So I don't know. I'll have to figure out something.
Yeah. I mean, once it gets a little bit cooler, you can go for a hike during, you can hike more, or.
Yeah, that would be like a once every other week kind of thing too. Yeah.
So now, what do you think about maybe because I've been thinking about wanting to do a little bit more cardio. What do you think about maybe just taking 20 minutes after we do the weights and hitting the stair climber for like 20 minutes? I
mean, I jump rope at the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to throw things out there.
Yeah.
And just, I guess again, I can't tell you, and I'm not trying to solve your problem. I'm just trying to tell you how much I hope that you do take time for yourself.
Yeah, I understand. And that's the thing, though, is just finding, like, I guess, like you say, it's a balancing act. And I figure I have the drive, I have the capability, I have everything to be successful. And for me to not feel like, for me to not do it makes, it makes me feel bad, actually.
Right.
So for like, and it's like, well, time spent wasted, or is it time spent idle is time spent wasted kind of thing? Where I have the capability of like, increasing and improving. So why not be like addicted to the grind kind of thing?
See, because I mean, now I notice that sometimes like I myself, and I can only talk about how I operate, but sometimes I find myself trying to do, I ignore my own self time, and I am just like, I find myself, my content almost suffers from that.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
because I
way?
find myself just pushing past my point of like where my little inner core is like, to where it's like I get almost I almost get resentful.
Okay.
It's almost like, well, I have to do this and I have to do that.
Yeah.
And so I just throw content out instead of it being like really like, wow, this is really cool and enjoyable. And I just don't want you to get to that point. I don't want you to get to that point to where it becomes that grind. And so I mean, I know I myself personally have had to take a step back because it's really weird. About this time every year, I kind of go into a little funk. And I got into a real big one last year where my content just almost ceased to exist. And so this year I'm much more aware of it, and I'm kind of changing things up. But I also too, like now when I eat, I put my computer and my phone in another room, and I just sit down and I eat my lunch.
Okay.
And to me, that helps me kind of just be like, oh, okay, now that I'm done, now I can fully concentrate instead of like feeling like I'm getting pulled in 1,000 different ways.
Yeah. Yeah, that's understandable. Thankfully I've got really good people around me that kind of help with that kind of thing.
Cool.
So I do have a support system. It's not just me versus the world kind of thing. So like I said, the whole topic was just more of like finding and understanding that like there does need to be leisure time with my work schedule, and just finding something that would balance.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to seem like I'm taking too much time away from work, and I don't want to seem like I'm working too much that I can't relax. So it's finding that healthy medium.
It goes back to that damned if you do and damned if you don't kind of philosophy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more like structuring, because I like I said, I like structure, and I think finding that healthy balance so I'm not put in that situation is ideal.
Yeah.
And like I said, maybe Ariane's probably the best person for it at the moment because he's so chaotic, and he demands so much attention because you always got to keep an eye on him that like you have to like really focus in the moment and enjoy things.
Yeah. So now here's a thought. While you're hanging out with Ariane, because I mean, Ariane he's very transit. He has a tendency to move around a lot. So while you are hanging out with Ariane and you have this experience with him, I hope that you kind of like get into this routine. So that way, just in case Ariane moves away, you already kind of can be like,
Well, I wouldn't go surfing without him because I don't like surfing by myself.
No, I just meant in general.
Yeah.
I mean, because truthfully, it's really going to come from you. I mean, Ariane is a great distraction, but it's going to come down to you at the end of the day where, again, you're going to know when you're getting to that point that you're starting to burn out, that you're going to be like, pump the brakes. No, this is important.
Yeah. So I reckon it's just going to be like a trial and error kind of thing.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you what, I'm really proud of you. I am so incredibly proud of your success that you've done. But I just also, too, I want to see you having joy while you're doing it.
I do.
Okay.
I mean, at no point do I feel like it's work. It's just a lot. It's physically and mentally demanding.
Yeah.
There's just, like I said, at every waking moment of the day, I'm going 100.
Yeah.
My mental capacity is at 100.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And also too, it's something to where, and I apologize if I've ever read anything into it wrong or anything, because I mean, sometimes you are at 100 and you are just maxed out. And then
I'm always maxed out.
Yeah. And then I kind of like walk into the bear cave and it's just kind of like walk in, turn around and walk right back out. So I am really trying to, sometimes I do need to ask you questions. So I just want to let you know I am respectful of your time. And I know from our last conversation, like if you come out here and you grab water, I mean, I don't want it to be where you're like, okay, she's not looking, I'm going to run into the kitchen.
Yeah.
So
Cause I definitely feel like that at times,
Yeah. And I'm aware of that. And you know what? And that's the only thing I can do is just be like, yeah. But, and like yesterday, I needed to talk to you about my GoPro. And that's why I just like, hey, do you have 5 minutes? And we were able to talk about it and figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I just hope that, you know what, Robert, I just hope that you find that balance, and that because you're going to need that balance to grow. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't think to grow. I think to be happy, because I can grow the channel without finding leisure time. It's more of just finding, like I would say, like inner peace.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I think my opinion is that people are going to want to see a happy Robert more than a burnt out Robert.
Mm-hmm.
That's.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like Arian just messaged me right now. He said, he's totally cool. He's just like, hey, take your time. Whenever you're done with the podcast, we'll go. And so after this, I'm just going to throw my board in the back and him and I are going to go. I'm going to call him and figure out where we're surfing.
Yeah. See, I think you need to have a little sign in your room that says, be more like Arian.
No, the last thing I want to do is be like Arian.
There's a fine line between super structure and absolutely no structure at all.
No, I like my routine a lot more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
Well, did this help at all? I mean, do you feel like it's like maybe a little bit more clear cut about like
it's
what
more
you need to do?
It's more of like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
Okay.
Kind of thing. It's not like clear cut like, oh my God, here's the winning recipe, but it makes me feel better knowing that like it's not a bad thing to take time for yourself.
Gosh, no.
Yeah.
It to me it's and again it just goes back to having to relearn about we have to relearn certain things.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we need to relearn is that self-care is absolutely vital.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of self-care,
mm-hmm.
and I'm really glad that you're taking that time to have it.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Yeah. So do you have anything exciting coming up this week?
Just work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, nope, me neither. Just work. But I did buy the world's best outfit yesterday for my birthday.
That's good. Happy birthday.
Yeah. It's not my birthday yet, but that's why I used it as an excuse to buy it because my birthday's coming up. All right, so I'm going to stop chit-chatting so you can go do some surfing.
Cool.
And then you're all like, yeah,
I'm ready to go.
Stop talking.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. I hope you all have a great week. If you want to find Robert, he is Robert Pike on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's your second channel?
Sherbert.
He is all, I guess, Sherbert.
Sherbert on all platforms.
Okay, Sherbert. S-U-R-E, not like a sure. S-U-R-E-B-E-R-T on all platforms. And I am gray hair and tattoos across the board.
Cool.
All right, everyone. Have a great week. Stay cool, stay safe, and we will see you next weekend.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.